Specials are for a limited time, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of our great rates. For more information, please contact us at any of our convenient locations in Taylorville, Hillsborough, Litchfield, Pana, or online at tccu.org. Dividends will be compounded monthly. A penalty for early withdrawal may be imposed. Fees could reduce earnings on the account. Member NCUA.
Your information station. WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find those streams online on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. Well, it is January, and it's time to start thinking about the spring gardening season. And one of the ways you can do that, well, you can order some of the seeds that you hope to plant in the springtime. Here to talk all about that, I have the Master Gardeners from the University of Illinois Extension in studio. That includes Gwen Podesky. Great to have you here, Gwen.
Hi.
Also, it's been a little while, but Kathy Knope. Great to have you back here.
Hello.
So tell me a little bit about you, Kathy. I know you've been on the show before, but I haven't had a chance to interview you. So tell me a little bit about what you enjoy about gardening and some of the areas you specialize in.
Well, I like to do native plants. And I also love to garden. I experiment with container gardening a lot. I've done vermicomposting, which is worm composting. I've been a master gardener for 10 years, and I just love gardening in general, being outside.
What's one tip you could give me for composting with worms?
Research it before you do it, because you got to know what you're doing or you'll kill the worms, mainly. And
then they really will be composted.
Yeah, they will be composting, and you don't want that. No. And find a cool place for them, and find a place that, like a basement or something for them.
Cold, dark,
just like the worms,
right,
would live in
their natural habitat as much as possible. Anything that, well, you know what? That's a pretty broad question. I was going to ask you about native plants, but I don't have anything.
There's a bunch of native plants. You want to, if you're going to actually start doing a basic garden of native plants, you want to start small, and you want to do research. Like Prairie Moon has a cultural guide, and it tells you a lot about the requirements. It tells about like the soil requirements, the sun requirements, if it's pollinator friendly, if it's, whatever. Prairie Moon's this is just a reference guide.
The Prairie Moon Nursery magazine.
Cultural guide. This is the Prairie Moon one. And then I actually got the catalog. It's over there that Gwen's holding. Those are, and they'll tell you even how much square footage you have, and they'll actually design a garden for you if you really want to, depending on how big.
The catalog says they're from Winona, Minnesota. So it's it's native plants, and native plants. I don't know, Kathy, I hear this a lot in different conference programs I go to and things. It depends on what your version of native is, but for the most part, you're best off to kind of start as local as you can, but that can be difficult to determine. So, native to the U.S.,
to the area,
to the continental United States is a good plan, and especially then to kind of focus in on our area.
And it's also, even we're talking about catalogs, but in the spring they have the Native Plant Society actually has plants, plant sale here in Springfield. That is a good place. That's local. It's from local gardens. So,
and I think they do, and as not only do they split their own up, but I think they do get some seed. They get plants to sell from Prairie Moon and a few other resources they have. So
they have a nursery that they actually grow them at, because of there's been diseases and stuff transferred. So they don't want to transfer the diseases, so they actually do nursery now.
Yeah. And another resource for native plants is actually Lincoln Memorial Gardens. I think they've still got 2 sales a year. I believe a spring woodland sale, which is earlier, and then a fall or a later spring prairie plant
they
sale.
Do that because they have a greenhouse.
So to summarize, start small and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right. And also kind of like, think about, like Kathy said, with the worms, even research first. Some plants are very aggressive and become they call them garden thugs. They don't call them invasive because they're not. They are native, but they can
They-
take
they'll-
over.
Yeah, they'll take over really well.
Yeah, we have a Joe Pye weed. We have a Joe Pye weed issue at the
Yes.
native plant rain garden. We kind of try to manage,
But
and
yeah,
that one is that one can
one's-
go
that
quite
can
wild.
go wild real
Mhm.
fast. Yeah. Some of them are just aggressive. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
Well, going back to my introduction, it's time to start thinking about your garden for the upcoming growing season. And one of the ways that I know you guys do that, you guys pay attention to the seed catalogs.
Right. Well, Santa Claus sent me the Burpee seed catalog.
Nice.
Now,
Nice.
on December 24th, this was what was in my mail.
Nice.
And so it's one of the big nationally known
Mhm.
nurseries, and they are nurseries that don't necessarily have they may have heirlooms and things, but the nice thing is if you get a catalog like this, especially for the vegetables, kind of pay attention to your entry, because it's going to tell you some things about kind of read the codes and make sure that you can read in these what's going to be the time to harvest, how to plant, whether they are resistant to various diseases and insects and things. So a good seed catalog, and Burpee is very responsible about that,
Mhm.
will give you that kind of information. And Kathy has another wonderful seed catalog over here that was a Christmas present for her, the whole seed catalog.
Yeah, this is like a Sears catalog.
Oh, wow, it's pretty thick.
It is thick. It is like a regular Sears catalog would be. And this is from Bear Creek. Baker's Creek, excuse me. Baker's Creek is heirloom. So these are heirloom, and it gives extensive descriptions all the way through here. It has recipes, and I mean, it's everything you need to know about heirloom plants. So yeah, this is
Yeah, and for the most part, heirloom plants will come true from seeds. So a lot of these in that catalog, and I know I have Select Seeds here, which is an older catalog.
Help me
with a lot-
visualize an heirloom plant.
An heirloom plant is a plant that will come true from seeds. So if you save those seeds and you plant it next year, you're not going to get just any old tomato. You're going to get that tomato.
Yeah, whatever that.
It may have a different characteristics than we're used to. It may not be the nice celebrity, and I'm not knocking celebrity or big boy, but it may not have that nice compact form or the very bright red color. It may be there are heirloom tomatoes that are purple, heirloom tomatoes that are striped.
Yeah,
there are all kinds of things that have been bred out of the major trade.
Right.
And now they find, though, that some of those characteristics may promote long-term plant health. So they may not be, you may not have the same problems that you might have with some of the others that are planted. It's kind of like when people talk about monocultures and planting the same thing all the time. So that's kind of where it goes with that. So and it's become very popular. They're seeds that have been around for as long as this one.
Oh my goodness.
The 1870 Shumway's Handy Culture Book and Canning Recipes from Rockford, Illinois. So it may be, and I know you mentioned the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library seed catalog or seed exchange. There is a garden at the Lincoln home that is an heirloom garden, and it is. I was on the team that researched the creation of that garden, and our intent was to never plant anything in it that we could not verify had been available in the trade in 1856. So it was a lot of going through catalogs like this. The Presidential Library had a wonderful collection of these kinds of catalogs. This one I happened to pick up in a used bookstore, but anyway, it's they're just a marvelous kind of record of what people might have been able to get.
I totally get what you're saying about just keeping record, and also that agriculture in a way, I mean, yes, we keep finding new things out about it, but in a way, and just growing as a whole is kind of pretty similar as to what it was, even 2, 3, even further.
Everybody had the same problems. I mean, I was reading one time an older gardening book and it was talking about the problem with clay soil and how, and their,
Oh, yeah,
their
that's still
suggestion,
there.
and I don't know that I would even think this would work, but the suggestion in that one was to burn the soil and the clay would kind of become little like
Really?
brick pieces or whatever, like clay, baked bricks are baked clay basically. And then what was left would be the soil you could work with. I don't know that would
Yeah,
work.
so we
But
have
I
come
thought
a
it
long
was
ways.
I thought it was an interesting approach, and the fact that they were trying to kind of solve a problem that we still try to
We
solve.
still
today.
try
Right.
to solve that
So in
one.
a way, we've come a long ways from that, but we're still trying to solve some of those
Right,
old
right.
problems.
But the problems don't go away. Dirt doesn't change much.
No.
You can do what you like, well, I mean, you can do a lot with composting and adding compost to soil, but it doesn't change as much as you
change.
think.
Right.
Nope.
Well, I want to talk more about preparing for the upcoming growing season with you both. That's Master Gardeners Gwen Podesky and Kathy Knope here on the WTIM Morning Show. More from them after a short time out right here on WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLoss Yonke. We have a 3-day holiday just after the big January crop production report and World Ag Supply and Demand estimates. And for the week, March corn gained 21 cents, July up 15 and a half. March soybeans up 35 and a quarter, and July up 23 and a quarter. Chicago March wheat up a quarter of a cent. Kansas City March up 11 and 3/4. Friday, we had some follow through after Thursday's big gains, with March corn up 4 cents, 6.75. July up 2 and a quarter, 6.63 and 3/4. March soybeans up 9 and a quarter, 15.27 and 3/4, and July up 6 and a half at 15.25. March wheat up 1, 7.43 and 3/4, and Kansas City up 8 and 3/4, 8.43 and 3/4. Livestock contracts were mixed. Back with an overnight session tonight. It's the RFD Radio Network.
Proven banking solutions are a must for today's business owner. Hi, I'm Jordan Rupert with People's Bank and Trust. If your company needs products like online bill pay, remote deposit, and payroll direct deposit, or better checking and saving account options, then we need to talk. I can customize our business banking and lending plans to fit your company's needs. Call 888-PBT-1954 or visit bankpbt.com today. We want to be your business banking partner. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year as long as you get to Just Beds during the store-wide New Year mattress sale. Bemco, Sealy Posturepedic, Chatham & Wells, Arctic Breeze, and Max Life are all on sale. Now that's how you kick off a new year. No more sleepless nights this year. As always, free delivery set up in Holloway. You will sleep better this year. Just see the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive in Springfield.
Just Beds.
This is Dwayne Wheeler, the police chief of the city of Taylorville. As a law enforcement officer, I've seen the impact that depression and suicide have on many people. Many times, those contemplating suicide endure considerable suffering and distress, but there is help. If you feel depressed or lonely, there are many resources to help you. You can call a trusted relative, friend, or minister, or call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That is 1-800-273-TALK. All of us are here to help you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dick Adams, the new Executive Director of the Christian County Economic Development Corporation. From helping Taylorville and Pana establish and promote their industrial parks to constant communication with existing and prospective employers, our ongoing work has helped grow and attract many businesses. Funding comes from both public and private sources and is vital to continuing our work toward attracting more jobs. Find out more online at christiancountyedc.org.
This announcement donated by the Miller Media Group.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You always do better with Landmark. People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. I have University of Illinois Extension Master Gardeners, Gwen Podesky and Kathy Knope here in studio, and we're preparing you at home for the upcoming gardening season. So, Gwen, what else can people pay attention to here in the upcoming weeks and months as they get ready to plant their seeds and hopefully have a nice and healthy garden in 2023?
Well, one of the things that I was kind of introduced to on, I think it was Mid Illinois Gardener the other day, the PBS's WILL's program, were the grow lights that people are
Yes.
using now, the grow lights that look kind of like these microphones here, with arms and things. But they say those are wonderful. So that it might be a decent investment and not as much money as you would think to
No,
get
it
those for
isn't.
house plants that you've got in the house
Oh,
or things
yeah.
that are.
Yeah, how's that? What do you have
I
to say about
got those
that?
LED lights,
Mhm.
and I put them on my Africa violets, and I burned them, the leaves, because they were too close. So I had to go to natural light.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
so the
Okay.
natural light was like,
Right.
okay, it was a
Yep.
lot better. It didn't burn the leaves. It didn't do anything like
Yeah.
that. So I
Yeah.
said, okay, lesson learned.
Yep. So anyway, but those are out there, and you might start to think about planting some seeds indoors, basil and parsley, things like that. But for the most part, just kind of get your arsenal together. And if you want to try starting seeds indoors, there are a couple of classes that there are plant propagation basics that are offered on February 1st at 2 to 3 p.m. based out of Macoupin County. And but you can do those online, of course, do them on whatever. And the integrated pest management for vegetable gardens is coming up at Montgomery County this week, January 18th. I think that's Wednesday. And that's from 10 to 11 a.m. And then, and a lot of these show up later on YouTube, by the way.
Oh,
And then
what's the YouTube channel, if you don't mind?
I
I
don't
think you
know.
just use Illinois Master Gardener
Yeah.
and or Four Seasons gardening webinars
I
or
would
something.
say Four
and they'll
Seasons, because
come
I've
up.
done Four
Yeah.
Seasons before.
Yeah. And if you've got a Roku TV and things nowadays, a lot of that you can just watch it on your television, which is very good.
Mhm.
And then they've got basics of planning, establishing, and maintaining orchards. Grow your own tree fruit, January 25th, which is next week at Christian County. And the other thing that may be coming in your mail, if you're lucky and you've attended a conference before, is gardening conferences and gardening workshops. So much
Mhm.
of that stuff is coming back. Macon County has gardening insights on February 25th.
Yeah.
And it's an all day program with vendors and lunch included. So you can shop, you can get your garden shopping fix and kind of get a head start on that.
Yeah, and they got experts in the field, and there's like choices, so you could choose when you breakout sessions. You could choose what you want are interested in.
Yeah, and it's not very expensive.
And
I think
it's
it's like
no-
$35.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
that's
it's not
affordable.
expensive.
So it's
at
not
all.
really terrible. And as I said, it's at Macon County. Just give them a call. I don't think I have the number,
that's
but
all
I will.
right.
But it'll be next month. I will talk about it. I know they're going to have it at St. Paul's Lutheran Church
Mhm.
this month, and the registration
Indicator.
opened January 9th.
Yeah, it's indicator.
Yeah, so it's indicator. But it's a great way. There are 3 sessions of your choice plus a keynote speaker. So it's great information.
Are there any other programs you'd like to highlight here? If not, I have a question for you.
Not really. I
Okay.
mean, we've got pruning shade trees January 31st, which is the Four Seasons gardening webinar. And that you can go to go.illinois.edu/Four Seasons and register.
Going back to choosing your seeds and getting ready for the upcoming gardening season, what's one thing folks should remember as they do so?
To order early,
Yes.
if they've got real specific choices they want, to order early, and to always kind of have a plan before, know about how many plants you're going to want to have, and remember to rotate your garden out there.
Yes.
Don't plant tomatoes in the same 2 rows every year, or you will have tomato
Yes.
diseases, or at least more tomato diseases.
Mhm.
But move your plants around. So
rotate.
get your, do your plan first.
Mhm.
And think about, ask your family, hey, what do we like to eat? Do we
Mhm.
like lettuce in the spring? We always like to have lettuce available because wilted lettuce and
That's
other
good
seasonal
things. Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
And
I put mine in containers because I don't like to bend down.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just me.
Yeah.
And I researched in a lot of your catalogs. They'll say this is container friendly. So
Okay.
when it's container friendly, I put it in containers and grow my even tomatoes. Some of them
Right.
are container friendly. So
Right.
they'll tell you, you
Yeah,
know. And then and you don't even have to have like you could do this on a balcony.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to have
Mm.
actual land for
Right.
that.
Just,
Right. And if you know, and if nothing else, if you don't have the space, consider getting on the community garden team where there is a
Mhm.
community garden out near Davis Memorial Church,
Okay.
and get on that team.
That's Master Gardeners Gwen Podesky and Kathy Ganope. Thank you guys both so much.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W24.